Hey y'all, and welcome back to another fan mini episode of Catch That, where we get to know our friends through some of their favorite R&B songs. I am Naturally Elise, and that's my brother,
JR.
and we are the R&B representatives. And today we are bringing back a very familiar face, a face we love to see,
Mhm.
and voice we love to hear, and jokes
Mhm.
we love to laugh at. It is Keith KB Burrows.
Or I appreciate that beautiful introduction, but I must say, on here, on Catch That Fan Mini, just call me Cousin Keith.
Good, good.
Shout out to Nell Tribe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You
We
know,
black, we all family. Yeah.
look,
Yes.
if I don't hear that, I'm like, that ain't complete. You know what I'm saying?
At all.
Oh,
Yes. And today we're gonna jump right into things because I think people know you just as much as they know me and JR. So
Mhm.
we'll skip to all that stuff at the end. But
all
how about
right.
you tell us what song you picked today and if you remember hearing it for the first time?
Well, thank you for opening up the flow, Miss Elise, as if it
The
was the first single from Johnny Gill's Provocative album. You know what I'm saying? That ain't the song we talking about, but I was just, putting that in retrospective. But the song today that I wanted to talk about is one from Mr. Kenny Lattimore, and that is You're My Girl from his 2015 release, Anatomy of a Love Song. You know, when someone has the word anatomy in their album title, you know it's about to be serious.
Oh yeah.
I get surgical.
You know what I'm saying? And the album cover too, he's like, oh yeah, I got the face to match with the title, Anatomy of a Love Song. I'm like, bruh, okay. You go ahead with that anatomy.
But on that cover he looked like he should be part of the Death Row vibe cover.
Girl, why was I gonna say that too? Like, yo, he looks so angry. Like,
Yes.
this some angry love song that we gonna get? Like, what the
Yeah.
Oh, but I won't talk about him angry. I'm talking about him in the black and the black back. So it just looked like Death Row vibe cover.
heck yeah,
That is
heck yeah.
perfect.
America's most wanted.
That is perfect,
Boom.
yo. Oh,
But yeah, do you remember
wow.
first hearing the song or remember when the album came out or anything like that? What?
Um, Nothing specific, because to me it seemed like that was a release that was being put out there through word of mouth, but it was still kind of under the radar. And I know at that point this was Kenny's, I believe, fourth album, and so I think it was his first under his own imprint, along with E1, I think, for distribution. So I might have found out through like one of the websites like Soul Bounce or one of those sites that he was coming out with a new album. And then with You're My Girl, I think I just came across it. I want to say either by just like skimming through the album or something like that. And I just remember instantly just that being one song that stood out to me from that album. And to me, it gives me like a modern Motown feel to it. I would probably say from like the late 60s, not
Yeah.
quite 70s. And if it was like, say, done by, some of JR's favorite guys, Holland Doja Holland, that's the kind of vibe I got from it.
Okay.
It did give that, but like yeah, like a smoother, quieter version of the HDH production. Like
Yes.
a modernized version of it. Because it
Yes.
feels back and then at first and then you'd be like, well no, yeah, no, yeah, okay. So it's kind of it's cool.
Like, yeah,
Exactly.
like, wow, okay. Y'all brought up HDH. Come on, somebody. But, like, the first second, it
Yep.
feels like HDH. Like, you be like Elise said, you like, when I first heard it, I was like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I said, oh no, like, where are we going? Like, I was like, oh, okay, got it. Okay. So, for me, y'all know what I really got when I first heard the song. First of all, after when I first heard it and it was coming on and the beat was coming on, I thought it was music at first with the beat of it. It reminded me of a music record. And I was like, wait a minute, is this music? Because Kenny did not sound like regular Kenny that we know on this record. It was completely, he didn't attack it vocally like he normally attacks a record. So it was very Marvin-ish to me. Like I got like the I Want You vibe to me. I got that. And I was just like, wait a minute. But when you hear that hook come in and them stacking that he do, I said, oh yeah, that's Kenny. I was like, that's Kenny. Okay, got it. I know that's Kenny. But he attacked this song. This song vocally sounds nothing like any other thing he did on this album at all. That's why I was like, it had the Marvin spirit on it to me. It was just like
it don't sound like nothing. I'm a huge Kenny Lattimore fan. Like I don't know that I really heard him sound like that on any other songs. Maybe a couple here and there through his career. But not really.
I agree.
But he took a risk and I liked it.
Me too.
I that he did do, more songs kind of attacking things in a different way than he normally does. So his normal way is fine with me. But it was cool to hear him kind of outside of his box, so to speak.
Well, because he's always had that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You were going to say something.
Oh, okay.
Just he's always had that smooth vocal performance, whether it's from an album cut or from the singles that we all know, like For You and Never Too Busy and even Days Like This. I mean, I feel like up to the Anatomy of a Love Song album, like especially as far as the singles go, You're My Girl stands out from the other singles to me. And like JR said, yeah, he didn't attack this vocally like he would normally on other records. I felt that how he performed on this song matched the production because the production is very lush sounding. And I don't know who all was in the studio with him when he recorded this song or how many musicians there were, but it sounds like he was in front of like a, Phil Spector type of setup, you know what I'm saying, with all the musicians there, and he's like standing in the middle, just performing as they're playing, you know what I'm saying? That's why it gives me like that modern Motown late 60s feel. And so I just love how he performed the song, and I love how it's written too, because I believe he co-wrote it with Vidal Davis and hope I'm saying his name right, Jairus Mosey.
Glad you did it.
Right. I think that's how you say it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Kenny, yeah, like you said, he takes risks, I feel, and this is no exception to me. But like, yeah, he's very consistent.
I think Vidal kind of blessed him because, like you said, we know Kenny as more of a crooner, the balladeer. This is the thing that they gave him. So to me, I think maybe Vidal was like, yo, let's take it back to kind of like a nice little slow up tempo, kind of like a Never Too Busy. You know what I mean? Like, like you're not gonna give Kenny a up tempo for real, and that is that, because that's not really his lane like that. You're gonna give him a nice little mid, and it's gonna be that. And I think Vidal probably was like, yo, let's take it back there. Let's get him like a little groove. I mean, heck, he wearing the same suit in that video that he wore in the freaking I'm lying, y'all. Because he was wearing a nice little crisp black suit in that, and it was about black women and how beautiful black women are in that video and all of that. But you could tell the suits was definitely tailor-made, because that Never Too Busy, you could tell that was a Sears suit.
No. Sears, Roebuck, and Cook.
Like if y'all see him, that joint is oversized in the video with Never Too Busy, so like.
Right.
Yeah, it was also the style at that time too, though.
Micro.
The fashion made
you gotta put in context.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sorry, Kenny. No offense.
No, men weren't. No, and never too busy during that period. Men weren't wearing form-fitting things. That men were coming out of the baggy, so you were lucky you got. You know what I'm saying? So, men were coming out of the Steve Harvey suits and stuff. You know. Them big ass suits stuff. So no, that was more so the time, the fashion of the time.
Now see,
because even though Never Too Busy sounds so modern, that was from a long time ago.
Yes,
it just still sounds fresh.
Yes,
this song doesn't age.
Yes,
In fact, all the guys from his time, like those Maxwell songs and the who else? Eric Benet and stuff.
Eric Benet,
When you listen to their music, it sounds like it could just came out.
Exactly.
There's not a datedness, which usually with a groove, they don't really age like that. Them grooves, the true groove. No, them the brothers right there. They love a groove.
Now, JR, you brought a good point up just a minute ago about how when Kenny does up-tempo songs, that's not really his lane. And I have to agree with you because I feel like the main example of that would be Weeknd. I would say that's probably his most up-tempo song that I could think of. But I think that particular album, though, was probably his...
They wanted him to go commercial.
It was more commercial, more mainstream.
Yeah.
Because he was on Arista. You know what I'm saying? And I know he worked with a lot of people that were still hot at the time. I believe the Characters and but my joint from that album though is Come to Me.
Yes.
Which your boy Raphael Sadiq was a part
you already know.
You know what I'm saying? And, whew, yeah, that's a dope joint. But like I think with Kenny, he's always been consistent, even with the Weeknd album. Like I would call that his hood album. I think every artist has like one hood album where it's them, but it's like not necessarily them. You know what I'm saying?
I knew when L.A. Reid was the executive producer of the Weeknd album, I said, okay, I know what they trying to do with him. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I see this. That's why I was so happy after that he did the record with him and Shantae Moore was doing the duets. I was like, see, that's Kenny. You know what I'm saying? The things that lovers do. Like, that's him. You know what I mean? That, like I always say, some of these labels try to mainstream people that should not be mainstream. You know what I mean? Like, Kenny was what he was, and that's what you stick to. You don't try to make him mainstream because it don't seem authentic. You know what I mean? That's why you see he ain't work with the Characters no more.
Oh, and let me make a small correction. This was his 7th album, his 5th solo album.
Oh, 5th. Okay.
5th solo, but 7th album because you have the Shantae Moore project in there too.
Right. Okay.
And that came before it.
Thank you for that. Okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I was glad when because I like when he got with with Vidal. Like I like that. Like I like them, Dave and Vidal as producers. They are real, like strictly that R&B when they're working with you. You know what I mean? So at first when I was hearing that, Vidal was gonna be a part of the project, I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? I was like, I hope they give him, something, that's gonna be Kenny. But if you're gonna give him a banger, at least keep Kenny where he's at. You know what I mean? But then, like I told y'all, I thought that when I first heard it was music because it gave me that vibe. And we know Calvin and Ivan was a part of this project as well.
Right.
They did a song on this project as well. So that's why first when I heard that they were going to be on it, I was like, oh, this sounds like a music track. Like I felt like it gave me like newness on Just Listen type of vibe. You know, even though newness got a more kicking like beat to it, but I was like, it gave me that. Yeah, it gave me that flavor. So I was like, okay. But I said Marvin's Spirit was on this record. To me, the beginning of that, like I said, y'all were right with the Holla Doja Holla. I ain't even think about that shit. But that's why I was like, come on, somebody. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And when it first came on, that first like second, I really thought that was like ain't nothing like the real thing with Marvin and Tammy. Just how that beginning starts. I was like, man, Marvin's Spirit is all over this record. You can't like deny it. And again, the way he attacked it like Marvin. And we need more records like this, y'all. Like the sensitivity of this record is what I really love. You know what I mean? You show how you love your girl. Like we don't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like you honest and truthful, like, yo, she's my girl. You know what I'm saying? All my dreams are now realized, becoming real for the first time. Who? What? That's lyrics, yo. Dude is expressing how he really feel. And I feel, again, we don't have a lot of that. You know what I mean? So for him to do that and for it still to be a groove, I was like, it's all right with me. I was like, I love the joint. Like you said, it's definitely a standout for real.
And see, during that time when it was first released, I was still going through separation, which eventually led to divorce. So when You're My Girl came out, I was like, okay, when that time comes again, you know, for me to be in that space to be like, hey, this is how I feel. You're my girl. And if I could write a song, what would I say? To me, You're My Girl, it reflects that. And so I feel like now that I'm engaged to, for those that know and have watched Catch That, I mentioned my fiance, Emily. Hey girl, love you. I can say You're My Girl represents that for me to her. You know, and yes, I'm an artist. I write my own songs sometimes, but You're My Girl would be in that category of like, oh, if I could write this song, I would want to write something like You're My Girl. And, you know, show my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sensitive too. Shit.
You stupid.
I mean, she says that too, but thankfully, you know, she still loves
It's a really good album.
It's very solid.
Under the radar. I remember I was talking about it probably the same place at Soulbound when it came out. But it is really solid.
Well, to me, Kenny hasn't
find a way with
yeah. Well, I think excuse me. It was originally supposed to be called Back to Cool, and then it changed to Anatomy of a Love Song. So I think some of the songs that were originally in the lineup for Back to Cool became Anatomy with newer songs added to it.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Was pretty cool. That's featuring Kelly Price.
Yes,
I do like that song too.
Yes.
I saw Raheem Devon. I believe co-wrote one of the songs on the album too.
Find a Way, the one I said, Find a Way.
Oh yes,
that dude.
He's another one that's solid, yo.
Yes,
you know,
consistent.
I wouldn't mind if one of our catch that regular folk would pick Raheem Devon Love Experience. I would not be upset about talking about that. I would not angry at all.
I mean,
I just would want somebody, since we throwing out stuff, somebody can talk about Love Connection, because I love that record. So if you want to come and talk about that, I'm sorry. I think that's why Raheem Devon actually followed me on Twitter, because I love that song, I love it so much. And he finally was like, let me follow this nigga. Like he keeps tagging me that he listening to it. I'm sorry. I know this about Kenny, but I'm sorry. At least through our hers, I want to throw out mine too. I'm sorry.
Hey, Raheem got joints, man. That Love Experience album. What's that one joint? Is It Possible? Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, that's a dope one.
That,
That's a dope one.
that
So
ain't no misses on that album.
No, not at all.
No.
But yeah,
but like,
yes, I would really recommend to our viewers to really check out Kenny Lattimore's discography, because with being an artist, a lot of time the releases are under the radar compared to a big bigger name.
Right.
Like I mean, from the beginning, he got overlooked because he was in the shadow of so many great people that it made it hard to push past that. But he still kept on making music, and then had the time making a duet album with Shantae, and like he got a catalog, and it's a catalog that is worth listening to past the single.
Yeah,
I agree.
I recommend going to visit. Shoot, even if you don't do nothing but visit this album. I think it's totally worth it. It's a modern R&B, but the throwback elements, but they not like in your face. They just kind of
right.
It's not like overt or like
yes.
gonna make the rules school up. No, it's very subtle.
He's a very diverse artist too, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's classically trained. So, and I know he's dibbled and dabbled in different genres throughout his catalog too, with gospel, even with the second Shantae Moore duet album they did. What is it?
Uncovered, right?
Yeah, because I think one was R&B, and then the other disc was gospel.
Yeah,
I want to say.
Yeah.
But no, I would love to actually hear him do something on the classical side too, just because I know he has that ability and gifts to do it. But I love that he's not a trendy artist. Like, he's always been consistent. And it seems to work, especially for folks like us that appreciate genuine, authentic, just good R&B music. I think he doesn't fail when it comes to that. And You're My Girl, again, is is a great example of what he does.
He's one of those artists that just stays true. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard because, like we were talking about his Weekend joint, that's when you see they was trying to make him something else. You know what I mean? And it was like, no. And finally, he just went back and said, I'm going to do me. You know what I mean? And I think the fans, we like that, because I want people to understand, just because you don't think albums can sell, but let Kenny do a show somewhere, it's going to sell out.
And will.
And you know what I'm saying? So don't let the sales of albums fool y'all, because the people that you think are selling albums can't fill up in a. But
tell the truth.
No, I ain't gonna do it. But Kenny can definitely do like a city winery, and you can see it's filled, packed, all of that. You know what I mean? So for all that being said, just again, like sis said, check out Kenny's, his catalog, because I like Soul of a Man. I love that album. To me, that second one, I love it, because the first one, again, I think that your first album is your whole life. You know what I mean? It's, you put your whole life into it and all that. And like Elise said, he came out in 96. He had to compete with Maxwell, D'Angelo, like, then these male groups. Then he had to deal with that. Then him and Eric Benet was kind of on the same level, because he came out and had to deal with Maxwell and D'Angelo and all that kind of mess. So it kind of left them that. But people like us that love to listen to music other than what's on the radio, Soul of a Man, to me, I love. You know what I mean? I love that album. I still listen to it today. So I'm
But yeah, I'm Kenny Lattimore Hive. I've talked about Kenny a lot of times.
Yes, you do. Yes.
A lot of times. I love that dude, but yeah.
He's more than for you, I will, y'all.
I know, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And like again with You're My Girl, I just love how it was just beautifully written. Like he just says, you know, nobody more precious. Spend your life with me. Without you, girl, I would not be. You know, I'm like, if it look, I don't know what to tell you after that. I don't know what to tell you.
Wait a minute. I just thought about something too.
Mhm.
Duvall did Days Like This.
Oh,
I just had to
about
think
that.
about that for a second. I was like, wait a minute. He did Days Like This. I was like, so he was like, let's go back to that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just like, wait a minute. Didn't he do that? And I was like, yes, he did. I had to think about it because I'm like, that's why, again, him getting with Duvall for this album, it made sense. And their chemistry was because they worked together before. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mentioned earlier about like how I think each artist has one of those like quote unquote hood albums. I think the word I was trying to think of that I hear Master Ace say a lot of times is compromise. Like in his case, you know, for the Sitting on Chrome album, he calls that his compromise album because it was not one he was necessarily want to do, but he was still trying to, you know, please the label and still be authentic to who he is as an artist. I feel like with the Weeknd album, that would probably be in his whole catalog, probably his more compromised album.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Where it's still Kenny, because I mean, like
giving up more than you. It's actually compromising quotes because you giving up way more than the other person is.
Right. Right. Right.
But I feel like with Anatomy of a Love Song, he came back to probably what he wanted to do more. And again, he had started his own label at this point, Sincere Soul or Sincerely Soul, I think is the imprint.
That's what it was? Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like he obviously had more freedom and more range to be like, okay, you know what? I want to get together with this person, that person, and get back to.
And I got a budget, so I'm not trying to spend money on them top dog producers.
Exactly.
That's gonna give me what they done gave everybody. You know what? Let me shut up. No, go ahead. Sorry.
You're right. Keep it Sincere Soul.
Sincere Soul.
Oh, Sincere Soul. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
So that makes sense for that to be the name of his label.
Right.
Yeah, Sincere Soul. Yep.
The sincerity, like when he's singing about love, I believe it.
Yes.
It's not a song here where I'm like, I mean, he's cool and all, but I don't believe him. I'm sitting there like, tell me more, you know.
Yeah.
Did you just sound like me just now with that? I don't know.
You're rubbing off, man. You're rubbing off.
Yes.
Be like, I want to hear Kenny Lattimore, not Kenny Lattiless. Okay.
That part. That part.
Oh,
come on, Keith.
Yeah, You're My Girl.
Lord, help
That's
me,
my
Lord.
jam. There's a God somewhere. Yeah, I'll say it again.
Say it again, King.
Oh, there's a God somewhere. Are you talking about the Kenny Lattimore?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to hear Kenny Lattimore, not Kenny Lattiless. Okay.
That's just funny.
Something wrong with y'all.
Well,
it don't matter if it's on the weekday or the weekend. I want to hear Kenny Lattimore. Okay. He said he's here to stay.
That part.
He said he's here to stay.
It seems you much too busy to hop on and get back to cool. I don't know. Look, that was a reach, but
because on days like this, sometimes it's hard to remember. You know what I'm saying?
I just want somebody to remix this heart.
Oh my God.
Remix the heart. Because always remember, okay, he got just what it takes to make a good album. That's all I'm
Oh my
saying.
God. Oh God.
Make a good album for you. For you.
Look.
You and you.
Because you know the number one question is, where does it come from? And I bet he'll tell you, from the soul of a man.
Oh my God.
Catch that?
Got it.
Yes.
I don't live here. I was like, are we gonna get through the show without it?
What's that?
I was like, well, we gonna get through the show without y'all doing that, but I should have knew it was gonna happen.
Look,
I think the fans expect it. I think if we didn't do it, it would, you know, it would be like Kenny Lattimore not singing for you at a concert.
Look, in fact, where the camera at? I needed to come to me so I can tell y'all something. You knew this was gonna happen. When I'm on this show with these lovely people, I can't help but to just be extra. And I ain't talking about the chewing gum.
The thing is, I bet Keith go on other people's shows and they probably try to restrain him. I don't. I just let him be.
No, that's why I ain't been invited to many of the shows, because they know I'm crazy as hell.
Yeah. I deal with you, JR. I don't try to hold you back unless you get too crazy.
Yeah. I know sometimes I can go there. Yeah.
Most of the time. Or you be like, oh, he's so sorry. I'm like, go on, bro, go on.
No, let's not throw him under the bus, because JR sometimes is vulnerable.
And is.
That's my sweet baby. I love JR.
Yes.
He's so aggressive but so tender at the same time. I love it.
Yes.
I would not change one thing about him. And I would
I'm like Kenny.
And Keith.
Look, I love the hello out of y'all, okay? Y'all are my peoples. Yes, I said hello. I ain't talking about Adele or Lionel Richie. I just said I just love the hello out of y'all, okay? You can go with Curly Lionel from Can't Slow Down era to Adele, just being Adele. You know what I'm saying? Nice. All the way to the other side. Let the sky fall. I'm saying. I love fried chicken.
Y'all so annoying. He's so annoying. He about to set fire to the rain. Let me stop.
I'm about to be nice. Oh my God.
He's rolling in disgust. But yeah,
out here chasing pavements.
Chasing pavements. Stop chasing the street.
Oh not the street.
The street will love you better than I can. Shout out to you. But yeah.
If that sky fall, I want to make sure I have insurance that it don't fall on my ass. I just try to let y'all know. I want to be safe out here in these streets. Look.
Oh, Jesus.
But this is unhinged. But on that note, Keith.
Yes.
Tell us about all your wonderful things you got going on and how people can find you. And you know that you've done this a few 12 times.
Look, I'm trying to go for 15 and then 30, and I'm trying to set a record. You know what I'm saying?
God, y'all are unhinged. I can't handle this.
But currently, I don't have much going on. Hopefully that will change. But in the meantime, though, if y'all want to see some content, I'm on TikTok under KB.
Please follow him.
3278. That's KAYBEE 3278. I'm also on Instagram under Keith R. Burrows and Facebook Keith Burrows. And yeah, hopefully get some more content out soon and hopefully some more music. And, you know, I just love to share music with the people. So I love to curate playlists for my own pleasure and also for the people. You know what I'm saying? And
y'all need to on his the fall podcast playlist.
Yes.
That one that's all right there.
Right. Because you got us talking in the group. Me and Lisa Tim about it.
I got you in the group
Oh,
chat.
really?
Yes, we do, Keith. Yes. Yes.
Oh. Well, shout out to Timothy too, because
he was talking about how much he liked it, and he just assumed that we didn't hear it. I was like, no, I'm on it. What you talking about?
No, but I'm on it.
He trying to come on like he be trying to one up us like he be on something that we ain't on. He's very messy. And so I'm like, nah, bro, I done checked out the fall one.
Oh, thank y'all. So for anyone that's listening and maybe looking for some new playlists, because I know everybody creates their own, and shout out to y'all for doing that. I'm on Spotify if you use that under K Boogie, KAY, word Boogie 3278, and that's where my playlist can be found on Spotify.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for gracing our presence once again.
Can I do the outro like how you do it? Can I do it this time?
I would love for you to do that.
Yes. Well, Keith, we love to thank you for being on the show with us, and we would like to extend the invitation to all of our, all your friends, and bring more cousins and bring more uncles, and we just like to share with the people. So share, like, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? And we will catch y'all on the next Catch That.
I hate it here.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to another fan mini episode of Catch That, where we get to know our friends through their favorite R&B song. I am Naturally Elise, and that's my bro,
JR,
and we are the R&B representatives. And today we welcome in back a Catch That OG.
Mm-hmm.
We always really, really love to talk to. It always gets deep, and we just really explore some things. And he has those picks that you just have to dig a little bit deeper, and it makes you have to do more research, so you learn more. So it's a win-win. Right. And that is our brother, Mr. Triboro, Mr. Triboro Gigolo. Okay. Hey.
What's up? How y'all doing?
Yeah. And he's also the coolest. He's just so cool, like
yes,
smooth, cool, a quiet confidence. I love it.
Yeah.
But how are you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm doing fine. I just been busy a lot. Doing different shows and stuff.
Yeah, he out here, y'all. For real.
We see you.
Yes.
We watching your different shows. I sure do.
He be doing movies. I'm like, how does he do all of this? Like, he do movies, the music. I'm like,
it's a lot. I try to schedule everybody in and make time for everybody. So.
Respect.
And thank you for always making time for us.
Yes.
So, jump right into this. What song did you pick for us to talk about today? And do you remember the first time hearing it?
Today I picked Lillo, You're a Good Girl, from his Let Me Be Yours album, 1983.
You better. I should have knew.
And, I was like 5 years old. I was real young, and 83 was like a good year for R&B. You had Candy Girl was just coming out, new edition. You had Lionel Richie, Can't Slow Down album, one of my favorite, Lionel Richie albums. M2 came out with Juicy Fruit that year, and it was a great year for R&B. I feel like there was like some underrated, artists that came out like Lillo Thomas, and I wanted to talk about his song from this album, and I felt like it was definitely a slept on song that a lot of people now are just catching on to, and it was phenomenal. Lillo Thomas is a great singer. And I feel like he's getting his flowers now. I know he's doing a show in Westbury coming up with and other R&B artists from back in the day. like him when I talk about him.
So I'm gonna tell you something before we got on that JR said, and he was so right, is it was hard for people in '83 because they had to deal with Michael Jackson.
Right. Yeah. I remember, and I think for Thriller to me is my favorite album ever of any genre, and it's such a groundbreaking album that you still have artists now trying to copy what he did back then.
That's that.
It just, and then for it to come out in November of '82, and then once '83 hit, he had the whole year. So it was a lot of dudes that was coming out, like Lillo Thomas came out with his debut in '83, and it's kind of like, how do you get through? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like Michael's eating up everything. You know what I mean? And then it was just like, then even we're talking about '83, then going into '84, you had to deal with Prince. It was like, yo, like, what do you do? Like, it was just, it was tough. But I'm just, with this song, I know when I heard it, I thought it was Kashif. I really did. I was like, it sounded like him. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, all right, well, Kashif did the production of it. I was like, all right. Then I'm like, Lillo Thomas, I know that name. I saw that name on writing credits before.
Right.
Kashif didn't do the production.
No. I was saying I had thought it was Kashif, and I thought since it was, he did his own production. So when I saw it was Lillo Thomas, I was like,
sorry.
Oh, that's all good. And I was like, wait a minute, I saw that name before. And it was like, oh, he was on the background vocals of Love Coming At You with Melba Moore and Freddie and all them. So I was like, I know I seen that name before. So I was like, all right.
That's my cut. Love Coming At You?
Yes.
I love that song. If you look, I have a 80s funky deep cut playlist. That song is on there. And it's a Lillo song on there, and it's Kashif on there, so it's all that kind of jam.
Yes.
Period.
So then to know that he did that, so I was like, all right, I know him. But then, doing research on him and knowing he was from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the hometown. So hearing this song, to me, this feels like a record you was hearing on BLS and
right.
Kiss. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would play this joint and you kind of like riding down the BQE on a summer day. And you know what I mean? Like, it feels like that. You know what I mean? So it was just, for me, it's just that summer record. It had that nice little bounce to it. It had that, like I was telling Elise before we got on, that Hush Productions, they had a time. You know what I'm saying? People was doing background for each other, the production, everybody. They had a moment. You know what I mean? And for Lillo to get up in there and have this joint, because this actually is my second favorite joint from him, to be honest. You're a Good Girl. I think the production of it is great. It's dope. And I just was like, I like it.
You know who talked about Lillo a lot? So me and JR in the early days of the show, we talked to record executive Kevin Harewood. And he actually talked a lot about Lillo when we talked to him. And we actually are gonna eventually release that, but it's just a bad video, so we're gonna release it as an audio. Because I think he really went in depth about that period of Hush and of everybody. And he kind of talked about everything, but he did mention Lillo a lot in it.
Yes, he did.
He was such a great artist, and he really loved his voice. So he gave a lot of props.
Yeah.
When you hear a song like "You're a Good Girl" and he's singing about, you don't want no nasty girls, and that's when at a period when R&B had taste. It was tasteful. It wasn't a lot of artists that was trying to go, too explicit with it until we got to the 90s, and that could have been why I think he got overlooked, because he played it safe. You know what I'm saying?
True.
He didn't really go, to the limit. But I think this every time I hear it, it reminds me of 80s R&B. We had Evelyn Champagne King. He was like another great singer from the 80s. Howard Hewitt from Shalimar. and his, I'm glad that an artist like this is getting his flowers now, and
Yeah.
So,
I think when I also with this song, I always say you can play this at like the family barbecue, and I always say you can play Evelyn Champagne, I'm in Love,
yeah,
and then you can throw this on, and then throw on Aretha's Jump to it.
yeah,
And then it's like you can feel like, you know what I'm saying, the family going to the table, you know what I'm saying, getting them their potato salad with no raisins, because we don't do that. No raisins at all. And I feel like this is one of those groups, it's a feel-good record. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, so I think Paul Lawrence is underrated as well. He's an underrated producer too, because a lot of people speak on just Kashif, which I'm like that. I do that. Like I always say, coming out of that disco era, we had Kashif and Leon Silvers, and then everybody kind of goes to Jam and Lewis and all this kind of stuff. But you got to put Paul Lawrence up in there too, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a lot of stuff that you might have thought Kashif did, he did. You know what I mean? But everybody seems to throw everything on Kashif because of everybody calling it the Kashif sound. You know what I mean? But Paul Lawrence is dope. Like he's underrated as well. So
yeah. I remember like in the comments, like listening to this song on YouTube, and in the comments, people mentioned Paul Lawrence as well. Like he's very underrated.
oh yes. Because and I think before we came on, Elise was saying all the songs that he did. And a lot of those then, before the research in me came out, I thought those was Kashif.
Yeah,
But Elise was breaking down a lot of those, and it was like, damn, he did do a lot, and he's kind of looked over. You know what I'm saying? And him and Lillo made some good music together too. So,
It's also interesting to me that all these people that we mentioned, Kashif, Paul Lawrence, Lillo, like they wrote and produced, but they all were artists,
right.
and
Definitely.
that brings a different sensibility to it because you sing, you do this, so you kind of have a mind of how to put things together and what makes sense.
Right. Yeah, they're wearing like a double hat in the studio. They a producer, but they also know what the artists might want, sound wise, vocally.
And Paul the pen, he
Right.
was a prolific songwriter on top of that,
right.
and so was Kashif, was a prolific songwriter as well.
I
Triple threat for real.
But I wonder who did the demo to this, because I know a lot of times, because Freddie was there, we didn't know who Freddie was at that time. He's singing background on this record. We did not know Freddie at that time. You just saw him on a lot of backgrounds. But then when I did some research about Freddie, Freddie used to do a lot of the demos for Paul. So I'm wondering, could have Freddie had done the demo for this, or could she do the demo for this? I always wanted to ask that. Like, I really wanted to like ask Freddie that. Like, did you do the demo for You a Good Girl? Like, was it you or was it Kashif? But RIP to him, we can't ask him. But I always wanted to know who did this demo, because I'm like,
Shoot, Lilo might have did the demo and they was like, "No, this need to be your song." You never
a
know.
lot of times that happens.
That's
A
true.
lot of times that happens.
I'm like, "Wait a minute, that works."
yes, yes, yes.
Pull a Tony like, "Nah, nah, let her have that. She came to
right, like we don't need to give that. Sorry, Anita, it was for you, but nah, we gonna keep it with Tony. You know what I mean? So maybe he did, but I must say Paul definitely blessed Lilo on that album though, because it's a couple of joints on that album I do like I Love It and Let Me Be Yours. Hot Love is a favorite of mine too, but it's just something how this comes in, and this is the opening track if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the opener. Yeah,
It's
I think
it's actually on side 2 in the
it's
vinyl.
the opening of side 2, right?
It's the second track on, because you got Hot Love on the first on the side.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay. But it's just how it comes in. It's just so bright to me. And
yeah,
it's like you cannot not be happy when this song comes on. You know what I mean? When it come on, you like nice little shoulder joint with it. You know what I mean? Like it's that dope. And I'm glad you picked Lilo, because a lot of people don't talk about him. They
right.
don't at
a lot,
all.
a lot of people don't know not only
True.
they not talk about it, but they're just not aware of him.
That's
So
true. That's very true.
glad we are shedding light for people to like go back.
Like Try said,
it's
yes.
like I said, it's only been recently on social media. I've seen a lot of people now get into his music, and especially with the your good girl track. So I'm like, why not discuss it?
And it's crazy because even on Spotify, it's like his album just like I guess they remastered it, I guess,
Right.
and they had just put it on Spotify. To
Yeah.
be honest, and then his other album is not there. So, like you said, a lot of people are just getting into them greatest hits that he
Right.
had. You know what I mean? Because this is back at a time, y'all, where a lot of our artists did not cross over. So a lot of them was straight R&B hits. You know what I'm saying? I think his biggest record, if I'm not mistaken, his biggest record as a crossover artist is actually my favorite song with Your Love Got a Hold on Me.
Right.
I think that was his biggest crossover, and I think it peaked at like 101. Like that was his biggest crossover success, but everything else was just, top 10 for us. But
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's just again going back to having to fight through all these artists, and Michael was here, and it's just like, you know what I mean? So it was
But
and
his biggest R&B time though was 1987 album.
Oh,
because
wow.
he had a number 9, a number 2, a number 11, and a number 7 R&B.
Oh, okay.
None of them crossed over. They did. A few of them did go to the dance chart though.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What was this? What was You're a Good Girl charts wise?
It didn't. Wait a minute. Oh, 22. Sorry. 22.
Oh, okay. I mean, coming first off the bat, that ain't too bad.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? Like it's
that's
not too
good.
bad.
Yeah.
I mean, for 83, it's a lot of heat.
Yes.
And Who Do You Think You Are went to 68. The other thing, and Just My Imagination went 79, but the other 2 singles didn't chart at all.
Ooh, just my imagination. Ugh. I'm sorry, Lillo. When you see this video, I was just not the biggest fan of his, even though he had the falsetto and all that. But I was not here for that at all. No, I'm sorry. I ain't even gonna lie. I was just like, oh, so they brought that out as a single too. He covered another record too. Damn. It was on that 84 album. I think he covered another. My Girl.
My Girl.
That's what he did. He covered My Girl. I thought that was nice. But give me You're a Good Girl. That joint thumps. That's a New York record. If you from New York, you will like it. You know what I mean? Like it has that sound. You know what I mean? And it's just a happy record, and I like it. That's why when I saw it, I was like, "Come on, New York! He can't help it."
I forgot he was from Brooklyn too. I didn't even like really realize. If I knew it, then I just forgot. But it's cool.
And then he was a track star.
Right.
I came to find out, and then he got into a bad accident or something, and he turned to music. So I was just like, wow, because again, I didn't know too much about him either. But again, with all of us knowing liner notes, that's how I connected all those dots. You know what I mean? To that and that and that. And I'm like, and then I went down to, the rabbit hole with Lillo. Was like, yo, Paul Lawrence definitely blessed him. And during that time with Hush, like I said, everybody was doing background for this, and you do the background for this, and he did stuff for Melba, and he was behind Freddie on Rock Me Tonight. He's singing background. So it was like, it was one big family, you know what I mean? So, and Freddie wasn't even known, but he's singing background on this. But if you really listen to it, you hear it. You like, yeah, that's Freddie. You know what I mean? Like when you listen to Love Coming At You, you like, yeah, that's Freddie. You can hear him. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
One other thing I wanted to say about. But yeah, I could understand. So he had the '84 album, but '85 and '86, that was all Freddie.
Right.
All Freddie, all of it.
Freddie dominated.
Yeah,
definitely.
And he dominated even in the midst of all those of the Prince and the Michael and all that. Like he still was able to push through. But I think
right.
part of it is Freddie. Like the reason you can really hear him on the backgrounds for other people. His voice is very distinctive and it stands out. And I can't think of anyone whose voice sounds like Freddie.
Right. At that time. Yeah. I agree.
Not at all. So it was kind of so basically for Lillo, it was kind of hard for him. You coming in dealing with Michael,
Right.
and in '84 you're dealing with Prince, and you still dealing with Thriller, still huge. Still you're dealing with what's his name, Lionel Richie. You're dealing with him. You know what I mean? Then you also dealing with all these other ones. Then Prince comes out, and then your label mate comes out in '85 and completely takes over. So it's like.
But for Lillo, '87 was his year. Like
87.
I said,
Yeah.
3 top 10 R&B hits.
Yeah.
He had dance chart success. So that '87 was when he really shined. Then I read in '85 he went on tour with Eddie Murphy. I didn't know that.
Oh wow!
So I guess he was still kind of pushing his, the '84 album when he was on tour with Eddie. That's pretty cool.
And I guess he probably was performing "You're a Good Girl" because it was a single, clearly. You know what I mean? So he was performing that and performing "Your Love's Got a Hold on Me" because that was the big song on that album. So yeah, I mean with Eddie Murphy, party all the time. Jesus Christ!
I actually like that song, but I don't think Eddie could sing though. I don't.
Yeah, the vocals are bad, but I think it's a good song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yes, that. I'm not the one to talk about Eddie in his song because I love the one with him and Michael. Remember?
Yeah,
I don't think I will ever forget that.
I know, I know. I think one live y'all ate me up for it. Like yeah. So I'm not in the position to talk about no Eddie record at all.
But yeah, try. I do think it's a very good song. It's a well produced song. It's well arranged. I wish it was somebody that could sing better or that Eddie could sing better because it was dope. I think.
Yeah.
Rick James produced it, so you would think that could have been for Rick.
True. True. He could have flipped it.
Yeah.
He could have flipped that.
He gave it to Eddie and Rick made a version so you could hear him. Like, that'd have been nice.
Yeah, like let us hear the demo.
Right. Definitely.
Oh man.
But yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought up this song.
Yes, we finally got to talk about Lillo. Yes,
and to bring the Kevin Harewood interview that we did 2 years ago.
Yes,
and sitting there, and I really want to do something with it because it was such an insightful conversation into Hush Records, into
yes,
artists. He talked a lot about Freddie, a lot about Melba, and it was really, we learned a lot. We didn't do a whole lot of talking. He was just really giving us behind the scenes, deep.
Yes. Like he taking us through studio times and all that kind of stuff. And we were just sitting there like, what? Like, oh.
That's dope.
Yeah.
But yeah. Try. How about you tell folks about what you have going on, if anything announced or on your platform?
I got my podcast, Daddy Rap Podcast. DAT that because I purposely spelled it like that. A lot of people ask me how do you spell it, but I spelled it like that for a reason. That's on YouTube. I do weekly live streams on there. For 80s and 90s, I'm part of that platform, and we're actually in our new season now, and we're filming visuals to go live on the YouTube channel. So subscribe to 80s and 90s on YouTube and on all audio streaming platforms on Instagram, TikTok. And I do stuff with the homie Reggie from North Carolina. Shout out to Reg. We go we go live weekly, every week on his channel, REG Reg. Subscribe to him on Instagram and YouTube. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I know there's a hip hop game show that I'm supposed to be a part of coming up soon. I forgot the name of it, but I follow them on Instagram, and they want me to be on the game show, so that's coming up. And there's some other things that's happening. Just stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram also, Triboro_Gigolo. So
Yeah,
you'll see me a lot more, coming up.
and we'll definitely put that in the description so people can go, follow you, check you out. We all about uplifting everybody,
Yeah,
that we
definitely.
come in contact with.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
also doing, before we go, I'm also doing a podcast with Jalen, Hip Hop Soul Jalen. Shout out to him.
Finally, he's finally doing a podcast. Finally.
We was talking about it for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Finally gonna happen. I don't know. We don't have a name for the podcast yet, but that's coming up as well. So
Thank you. Jesus.
I was just on the phone with him last night. He's a talented artist, and
Yes.
he has a lot of great music coming out too. So shout out to him.
Yes.
All right. Well, we thank you. It's been a joy per usual. And we thank everybody that tunes into us and really supports us and shares and like our stuff. It's definitely a labor of love. It's something we love to do, a lot of fun. Even though it's a lot of work, but it's the fun and the love outweighs the work. So
Yes.
bring some more folks to share this love and, be y'all, you're good girls and good boys. So y'all go tell people to subscribe. That was funny. That was wild corny, but I don't care.
I see what you did there, but God.
Bring us some more family, Lillo. And
Yeah.
and also, if you know someone or if you are that someone that wants to come and just talk about a song and break it down and talk about why you love it or the history or how it affects you, please hit me or JR or one of the R&B reps account, and we'll get you all set up to come and talk about something.
Yes.
Yeah. But as always, we will catch y'all on the next Catch That.
Peace.